lot of independent films, so I get to work. There's no middleman. Typically, it's just me and the director and whoever else is working on the film. And depending on their vision, you know, and depending on what they have visually, a lot of times, the music obviously is supposed to accompany the film. It's not supposed to distract from the film. But sometimes the films might need something that's missing, or the music might need to improve on something, or a lot of times the music might actually be in the way. So it's those decisions I have to kind of make, but it's usually a group decision that's made.
So did you get your foot in that door, so to speak, when you were studying at Sundance, or sometime around that period? You met a couple of directors from London. Is that do I have the story straight?
Yeah, it was actually like, I mean, seriously, just a lucky, I don't know, lucky and just great experience. But I was there for a couple weeks. There are a couple laboratories, experiments where they would pair you up with a director, and you would have to compose to one of his scenes that's like 3 minutes long or something.
It's a workshop.
Yeah, it's a workshop. So the last part of this workshop was working with documentary filmmakers. And it was really great because they would pair us up with, even before that, this one project they paired me up with a director, and then they would have big directors and the composers come in, and you'd see their relationship, like John Waters and George Clinton. So I would be talking to my director, and they would be in the same room saying, John Waters would be explaining how he communicates with George S. Clinton. And we would be talking to each other, and they would help kind of translate, and we'd watch that relationship, and it was like, I mean, seriously, you know, years of experience crammed into a day right there. And so it was unbelievable. And they'd critique you on your music you did. I mean, there's one experience where I was telling them, this guy, Cruz Angeles, is a director from New York, is in a room with George S. Clinton, John Waters, and him. And there's a scene, and I was telling him, they were talking, and I was explaining what I was going to do and all this stuff. And finally, John Waters is like, well, just do it. Why don't you do it right now? And I hit the guitar. So I sat there, and I kind of scored, I improvised over the scene. And at the end, they clapped. They're like, oh, that's great, man, that's great. So I'm like, okay, well, give me a couple hours, let me refine that, and then come back and check it out. So sure enough, I was there for, I mean, it was about 5 hours sitting there trying to rework using my scratch track, my improvisation. And the refinement, they all just said it sucked. And they said it lacked an energy and a certain thing. So this is something that I feel like with this group, something I've learned too, is that there's something to be said about the energy of the moment and the improvisation element and what's going to happen next. And I realize that when I'm scoring a lot of films, sometimes if I think too hard, I get away from that instinctual feeling. I rob it of its emotion, and I feel that that's one of the great things I learned from that. So Sundance did break me into that world because I did do a documentary film with somebody from that lab, the two brothers, Mark and Nick Francis, and then a couple months later we got into Sundance Film Festival, and the film kind of blew up on an indie level.